Information can't travel faster than the speed of light, but I, in whatever form I came in, must have traveled faster. I was lying in bed, half asleep, and became paralyzed by the shock of my entrance into my life as myself coming into me from I can't imagine where. I don't even know how I could come from somewhere else, let alone have any idea where that place might be. I can only tell that I didn't come from this planet because my thoughts don't fit here. Now that I'm here, I want to wean people off stories. My thoughts don't fit stories. My thoughts fit what I will call juxtaposition, to give it a name. It involves placing two or more elements in the same frame, even though they normally remain dissociated. Various passages or characters remain unrelated. Humans reward strong focus and tolerate inattentional blindness, and this results in poor general intelligence. The ability to appreciate fiction that is missing some aspects of the story craft offers some measure of general intelligence if it involves unexpected juxtapositions that are more accurate depictions of the world. I am under the radar because I don't fit any patterns for further development, and this began 30 years ago when I was lying in bed as a sad and awkward teenager. I thought of myself, as teenagers often do, as a ridiculous person undeserving of any favorable regard, which had given me a sense of humor at that time in my life. I became momentarily paralyzed on my back by the rival of myself. The time it took to become who I am now has been long, because the way I think takes much longer to develop than the coming of age of a typical earthling. There are no ready-made stories that could result in who I am. No Bildun's Roman. I had to slowly come into being through trial and error, thinking myself into existence without help from others. I remove different aspects of stories in each so-called story until society starts to appear from behind this narrative mask, and most readers don't like that. They want the story to be fully there in all its universal force, to give them the impression of volition that stories offer, the impression that every person's life has a plot, that every interesting development in their life involves a conflict that they must overcome. In stories, every character must be able to confront their antagonist. People hate to think that there are people ruining their lives from afar, and that these people will continue unabated without any accountability. They won't even have to acknowledge that there are any victims of their actions. These faraway people have, together, made the world into one in which their unknown victims feel inadequate and unappreciated day after day. These faraway people are the good people who love their friends and colleagues and feel great admiration for one another. They may have original ideas that require funding and marketing to become monopolies. I never give the above victim's opportunity to confront his or her antagonist in my writing, understanding full well that this is something stories are expected to offer. They are supposed to resolve this victimization to some extent through bringing representatives of these different socioeconomic groups into a confrontation where the poor person is given a chance to confront their antagonists, even when outside this story this will never happen. After all, they live in different worlds. We could even say that they live in different stories that are drifting farther apart, and this is a defining feature of our times. Other writers easily see that I don't know their craft. The more generous among them will offer me advice on how to write a good story. They lose patience with me quickly if they suspect that I'm leaving aspects important to storytelling out on purpose, which of course I am. They may think I'm suggesting that there are people who don't have the opportunity to compete, even if they are fully capable, which is undoubtedly true. They will insist that a story must have conflict. This means that the inability to confront one's antagonist can't be depicted in good writing. Most writers won't even see what is being proposed in a story that lacks some aspect of what they expect. They will only see that the story is not working. People aren't going to think long and hard about my attempt to wean them off stories, because I have no clout. There was an error in the thinking of the people who sent me here. The family that I arrived in seems to have been arbitrary. Whether I could effect change on Earth was left to chance, and now I'm stuck here with a mission I can't fulfill. My own family always thought I was trying to trick them on the rare occasions that we tried to communicate with one another. They didn't understand what was wrong with me. They somehow picked up that I was smart, but they also could see that I wasn't learning to do anything they understood as good. My father learned the useful trade of an auto mechanic. This, combined with my mother's pay as a checker in a Duane Reade pharmacy, allowed them to acquire a small house. They never gave me a key to this house. It wasn't mine. I left when I was 16 and spent my first night in an orange grove with my jacket pulled over my face. I was awoken in the night by the feel of dirt and twigs pushed against my side, and when I unzipped my jacket and looked, I saw a raccoon standing on its hind legs staring at me, illuminated by the moonlight. How I ended up on Earth is without precedent, and I have no record of what happened. I ask myself, were there more of us sent here? If so, they must have all been accidentally sent into the wrong lives, because there are no influential people trying to wean humans off stories. On the contrary, stories have become more important than ever, like the ones told by inspirational leaders who help individuals succeed. They spread the delusions that help individuals achieve personal success through the destruction in little ways of a world for everyone. They do this at the expense of human qualities that don't fit within this scheme. I'm witnessing the diminution of human qualities, and this is done to succeed. This is done for happiness that I see in the beaming faces of people that don't seem all there. There is a wide range of what a human could be that I'm seeing less of. I mean, for instance, seeing someone crying and they don't know why. There isn't necessarily anything wrong. They aren't crying because of trauma, but because they have only experienced superficial chatter for so long. Those tears are beautiful, expressing the need to feel understood by someone else, even if this will never be fully realized. It doesn't have to be anything more than the pain and frustration of living. We are going to live and finally die with much of who we are never recognized by others. Maybe someone is tired of trying to relate to other people and walks into the woods behind the house, and the world is big enough to support that. If someone can run away from society and still have a world they can contribute to, there could be significant people everywhere. I can sit in front of a screen watching important people's conversations. I can hear things that they're getting wrong, but I can't talk to my laptop. I don't know how to act to please other people and get them to listen to what I propose. If there were enough of us, we could change society for the better. But if there are more than one, we are all isolated individuals with nowhere to turn for help.